tell anyone, but it's time for another episode of Hot Garbage. Hey guys, you know what's going on. You know what this is. I can't always be happiness and light, can I? I mean, sometimes we just have to confront the ugliness of music. And that's what Hot Garbage is all about, and we're about to do that. I mean, you see that trash can over there? That one? We're about to put something in it. Something else in it. The bag is getting kind of full, isn't it? Somebody's got to take the trash out. But until that happens, there's still room for one more record. And you know which one it is. You have to know which one it is. So many, many years ago, in a land far, far away, there lived a song called All I Do Is Think of You. And that song, if I'm not mistaken, I want to check and make absolutely certain before I claim something that's wrong. Okay, that song was originally done in 1975 by the Jackson 5. Perhaps you've heard of them, but it was the B-side of another single, Forever Came Today. Forever Came Today is a gorgeous, gorgeous tune. It's a Holland Dozier Holland thing that was originally done by Diana Ross and the Supremes, and then eventually done by the Jackson 5. Same time. I think it was, how many years would it have been? I think it was like 7 years prior, I think. Right? I think it was, let me look. Yeah, 7 years prior. So they originally recorded Forever Came Today back in 68, and the Jackson 5 rather, not the Jacksons, that was later. Jackson 5 recorded it in 75. And they did All I Do Is Think of You as a B-side. Michael Lovesmith and Brian Holland wrote it. Michael Lovesmith has written a lot of songs. I remember he wrote one for the Temptations, actually. We talked about in a previous Slept On, we talked about an album called The Temptations Do the Temptations, and he wrote 2 songs on that album. I'll Take You In was one of them, and then There's No Stoppin' Till We Set the Whole World Rockin'. He wrote that too. So great writer. Anyway, Michael and Brian came together and wrote All I Do Is Think of You. And it was relegated to a B-side, so it didn't really do anything. I'm cheating, but it peaked at like number 50, at like nothing. It peaked at number 50 on the Hot Soul singles charts. That's what they used to call it. And that's not great, but it wasn't promoted. I mean, it was on the B-side. What do you want? So anyway, a number of years later, Troop came in and did the tune themselves. It showed up on an Attitude Called album. Good, Ed. On an album called Attitude that they did. It was their second record. They did it back in 1989. And that particular track was produced by Chucky Booker. I don't know why I paused like that, but I did. You'll just have to endure it. But their version of it did extremely well. Chucky Booker at this point was absolutely and completely undefeated. Further, it should also be pointed out that the preceding single was Spread My Wings, which Chucky Booker wrote and played everything on, and just, he's a mad genius. And that song went to number 1 on the R&B charts too. It's interesting to note, and I never noticed this, but not only did Spread My Wings and All I Do Is Think of You both peak at number 1 on the R&B charts, they also both peaked at number 47 on the all genre chart, like the Billboard Top 100 chart. Isn't that interesting? Like, they both peaked at number 47. I never knew that until just now. But yeah, I mean, like I said, at this point, Chucky Booker was absolutely undefeated. The song wasn't going to fail, and it didn't. And it's their version is definitive, in my opinion. I mean, it absolutely. I don't think anybody will disagree with me when I say that the Troops version of All I Do Is Think of You destroys the Jackson 5 version. I feel like it does. Maybe it's just more my sound. I don't know, because I love 80s, 90s contemporary R&B. But I really just think it just destroys the Jackson 5 version. I mean, they recorded it. Troop went in with Chucky Booker and recorded it like it was intended as a single, and the Jackson 5 went in and recorded it like it was intended as an album track, with Michael Lovesmith doing the production. It feels like an album track because that's basically what it is. And so anyway, for this song, so now we have like these two amazing versions, and the Jackson 5 version is not embarrassing by any stretch, not at all. But so we have two versions, two good to excellent. One version is good, the other version is excellent of All I Do Is Think of You. So good for them, right? Not bad. But there's a problem. So anyway, a few years later, as I feverishly type into Wikipedia to look for this. So a number of years later, and I want to find out just exactly how many years later. I believe this was back in 2001, I want to say it was. Let me make sure that I'm right before I commit to it. Yes, it was. So, self-titled debut album. I'm clicking that because I want to make sure that I'm totally right. I absolutely hate it when I dispense information that's incorrect. That's not cool. I want you to be able to depend on me, darn it all to heck. And now you can. For back in 2005, I was wrong about the year. In 2005, they were signed in 2001, but did not put an album out until 2005, July 19th, 2005, if you're curious. They released their debut record. Now, B5 is a group out of St. Petersburg, Florida. There were 5 of them, hence B5. Get it? Because 5. They were originally the TNT Boys when it was just the 4 older brothers, and then Brian. This is coming from memory. Brian Breeding. Their last name is Breeding, with the exception of Carnell. His last name's really Honeycutt. Neither here nor there. None of this matters, and you didn't ask for all this, but I'm telling you anyway because I'm Ed. That's what I do. But yeah, so that when Brian joined the group, it made 5. And so yeah, 5. And then they all, proof that we all make mistakes, they signed to Bad Boy Records. And they went into the studio and they connected with Rodney Jerkins and LaShawn Daniels and like that entire Dark Child team. You could do a lot worse. And so anyway, they went in and they did the thing that they do, and out came this song. Now, I've already lavished praise on the song itself because it's a great song. It really is. It feels very real, very organic. The lyric is great. The melody is great. You know what I think we should do? Instead of my running my mouth about this, I'm going to pull out my earbuds. You've seen these before, haven't you? That's the case they're in. I should put a link to these. These are literally the best earbuds I've ever bought in my life. These are amazing, amazing earbuds. The low end is very clear. The high end is very clear. I'm a sound engineer by trade, so I notice these things. These are just absolutely amazing. These are my very favorite, almost my favorite headphones, period. The HD 280s from Sennheiser are my favorite headphones, period. So you can look for those too. But these are just great earbuds. I just had to tell you that. I was in the mood to do so, so I did. What we need to find out first, before we start this, is whether or not these earbuds are connected, because I didn't do that because I'm a bad sound engineer and I didn't get ready. They are connected. That's beautiful. So here's what we're going to do. You like how I'm improvising my way through this? I think it's kind of cool. But we're going to go ahead and listen to this tune together. And it won't take long to hear what's wrong. And believe me, there's a lot wrong. So we're going to go ahead and listen to it. This is what happens when cover versions go completely wrong. This is All I Do. They retitled the song, like the pretentiousness of it all. But they retitled the song All I Do. And this is by B5. Just close your eyes. It'll be over in 3 minutes and 47 seconds, I promise. We're going to be okay. Here. And we're going to start watching it, because I'm an absolute dolt. And dang it, stop it. In 3, 2, 1.
from across the room, and I just need your attention for a few minutes. Is that cool with you? Yeah? Check it. Listen.
I can't wait to get to school each day and wait for you to pass my way. And
You heard the edit in there, right? I gotta talk through this.
an angel starts to sing.
Patrick's vocal is drowning in auto-tune.
For you.
It's set to stun.
So what are you gonna do? Hey,
This is how you tell.
girl, I love
That's how you know. The fan sound effect.
Think of you, day and night, that's all I do. I can't get you out my mind. All the time, all the time.
Auto-tune. Sheesh.
I begin to take the long way home, just so I can be
Edit.
alone. To think of how to say
Jerkins.
that my heart is
Dark sound, though.
here to stay. Hey, I'm in love with you.
I don't hate the track.
I think the world of you.
The track is fire.
So won't you please, please be mine?
More auto-tune. Numerous edits. Edit. It's just sculpted beyond belief. Auto-tuned.
You know what, girl? I'm in love. I can say it. Yeah, I ain't scared. I'm in love.
The video.
People tell me I'm too young to be in love. I know what I'm feeling,
Oh.
and this is real. I don't know what it is, but I can't stop thinking about you.
I think about you all the time. Think of baby, day and night, baby.
Auto-tune.
I can't get you out.
Sorry.
I don't want you out. I just want you in my
This is so coached.
All I do is think about you day and night. I can't even sleep
Without you in my life.
all the time.
That's auto-tune.
All I do is think of you.
So bad.
The morning when I rise, when I sleep at night, day and night.
All tune. All
I
of it.
can't get you out my mind.
Mm.
All I do.
I'm working here to listen to this with you. This is really difficult.
I don't want to.
Everything in my life, all the time.
Oh. The video's cute. I can't hate on the video. That video's cute. It really is. I like the way they did the video. And the kids have a lot of charisma. Like the group has, there's definitely something there. There's no getting around it. Unfortunately, what isn't there is is singing talent. Like that's the problem. I'm sorry. I know this is not very nice, and please forgive me because a couple of you don't like it when I talk through videos, but I mean, come on, can you blame me? Surely hearing my talking was better than listening to that singing. Like, and that's the problem with it. Like, the track is great. Like, Rodney Jerkins and LaShawn Daniels deserve statues in the park. If LaShawn Daniels were still here, he should have a statue in the park. Rodney Jerkins should too. They did everything they possibly could. Every line of that vocal from beginning to end, from both of them, from Patrick and Brian, every line was auto-tuned. There's not a moment of clean vocal on it. It's all tuned, every bit of it. I am quite familiar. I hate to get like I know when you don't, because it's not really about that. But I think anybody with halfway decent hearing could hear the auto-tune. I mean, that auto-tune was set to stun. I mean, set it any higher and it's T-Pain. Like, and that's the problem. I'm sorry. I know this is not very nice, but I think anybody with halfway decent hearing could hear the auto-tune. I mean, that auto-tune was set to stun. I mean, set it any higher and it's T-Pain. Like, and that's the problem. I'm sorry. I know this is not very nice, but I think anybody with halfway decent hearing could hear the auto-tune. I mean, set it any higher and it's T-Pain. Like, I mean, that auto tune was absolutely intrusive, and I don't like it anyway. But when it's that intrusive, it's unlistenable, and that's not me being an old man. I just there's plenty, and even at that point in 2005, there were people who could get it done. I mean, Usher didn't need auto tune. Pink didn't need auto tune. There were plenty of singers out then that didn't need it. Kelly Clarkson didn't need it, like et cetera, et cetera. There were plenty. Joe didn't need it. Like I could go on like this for a minute. You get the point. But it just when it's that intrusive, it's almost impossible to listen to. And I was really having a tough time listening to that song. That was very tough, trying to find the good in it. Because I always try to do that. I don't want to just be like, well, this whole thing is terrible. Like there's almost always something I could get from it. I think what I came away from it with is that Rodney Jerkins and LaShawn Daniels did everything they could. LaShawn was the main vocal producer for Dark Child. That was kind of his domain. And you can tell, I mean, if you look online, you can find instances of him singing. And every line of that was coached. Like, no, I want you to sing it like, sing this line like this, sing this line like this, sing this line like this, and so on and so forth. It was completely choreographed. Day and night, baby, oh, oh. Like, forgive the pitch hungriness there, I'm sorry. But that's probably what Brian sounded like, if not even worse, before it was tuned. But the whole thing was just completely coached. All of it. Every line of that was coached. If you listen really closely, I even pointed a few of them out, but you can hear the edits. Now, to be fair, editing or comping, as it's called, is not uncommon. I mean, people comp their vocals all the time. Like, by comping, I mean, like they may sing a song through, 5 or 6 times, maybe even more than that. And then they'll kind of like find the best parts of each one, and the producer will cobble together a completed vocal take that he or she really likes. That's kind of the best of all 6 worlds or the best of all 5 worlds. Or it's reflux, sorry. But they'll even just do like punching in, which is, this part of this line doesn't work. I need for you to sing this again and fix it. And it's like they'll start to sing, you'll hear like a bit of the old track, and then they'll punch in or they'll edit, and then the singer will cover up or erase the other stuff that he did with something, hopefully, that sounds better. So I can't tell if there was, I can definitely tell there was plenty of editing. So there was probably a fair amount of punching in too, just to kind of, to fix things and make them perfect. But what I imagine happened is that LaShawn was like, okay, sing this line like this. And then they'd sing that line and then stop. Okay, sing this next line like this. Sing it, record, they sing the line. That's probably what happened. That's not terribly uncommon either, but when dealing with mediocre singing talent like this, it's obvious. If the singer's really good, you shouldn't be able to tell. For all of Christina Aguilera's over-singing, and she over-sings just about everything. She's exhausting to listen to, but she is talented. She does have the chops. And she is one of those who will go into the studio and comp like that, do a bunch of different takes of things, and you end up with this vocal take that's like the greatest hits of like 7 or 8 of those that she did, She does that. It's not uncommon. There are a lot of other singers that do it too, but she's kind of known for it. But the thing is, when she goes out live with a microphone, she can pull it off. She can give you exactly that and probably better. The woman can sing. She just over-sings. She wants you to know it. The problem with the breeding kids is that they're not kids anymore. Some of them are I think they're all in their late 20s, early 30s by now, maybe even mid 30s. But the problem with them is that they can't sing. They just can't. There's no reason to employ auto-tune at stun if the artist can sing. Rodney Jerkins is not known for employing a ton of auto-tune. He doesn't do that. He didn't have a choice here. He just didn't. That's why that happens. So you basically end up with like Swiss cheese. You end up with with a track with a bunch of edits in it, auto-tune all over the whole thing. You know, I imagine, based on what I'm hearing, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that Patrick and Brian probably did all the background vocals on it. That's not uncommon either. With a vocal group, you generally end up with, you know, like one or two people who can sing. Example would be like High Five, for instance. Tony Thompson was the only singer in that group. Let's just be real about that. Well, maybe not the only singer. That's not fair because, oh, goodness gracious, I'm getting old. I can't remember his name. Now I got to look it up. In the interest of fairness, I'm gonna spend a second on this. High five. There we go. I got to do this. It's important. Yeah, Toriano. Thank you, Toriano Easley. I was trying to think of his name and I couldn't. He's the guy that did the baritone vocal on "I Can't Wait Another Minute." And he had a great voice. He just didn't stick around the group for very long, unfortunately. But he was replaced. He was replaced by another guy, Treston Irby, who has nowhere near the voice. And the rest of the guys can't even sing. Like, I think Farouk can, but he's in the group now. But that's an example of like a group where you have like one singer or two singers at most, but you have a 5-man group. So 3 of them can't sing. 3 of them are just there to dance. And that's probably what B5 is. So you've got Patrick and you've got Brian, although neither of them can really sing all that well. I shudder to think what the rest of them must sound like, if that's like the best of it. But I get Rodney and LaShawn probably settled on those 2 and then had them do all the backgrounds. And the backgrounds sound good because they're all tuned to death. Like, everything's auto-tuned. There's not a clean vocal anywhere, even in the backgrounds. I keep saying it, but it's important to note. And the track sounds amazing. I mean, Rodney Jerkins was undefeated at that point, really undefeated. I mean, Darkchild could not get it wrong. The whole team, Fred too, for that matter, like they just couldn't get it wrong. And they went in with guns blazing. They did the best they could, and they came out with a great track. I would love to have heard a real singer on that track. It's just a shame we didn't get one. And we ended up with a couple of guys who absolutely desperately depend on auto-tune in order to get it done. And so that's how we end up with All I Do Is Think of You, or All I Do. Sorry, they shortened the title. But anyway, after that, I don't think, I want to make sure that this is the case, but I don't think that they had another hit. In fact, I don't even think that was a hit. Yeah, the album reached number 7 on the R&B charts. And it peaked at number 11. Oh, wait, let me make sure that this is correct. Yeah, it reached number 7. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was right. So the next single that they released didn't even chart anywhere. There was referring to a hit single with All I Do, but I don't think that was a hit. Let me see if I can find out. Was it? I'm trying to look here. Okay, I think I can get the answer to this. Yeah, it wasn't a hit. They're calling it, it's interesting, on Wiki, like if you look at the band page, it calls it a hit. It wasn't a hit. It just spawned a single. All I Do was the single, and it peaked at number 71 on the R&B hip-hop charts, which is a bomb. It just died. You Got Me didn't chart at all. So that was it. I mean, they couldn't get arrested. And I don't think anything, yeah, the next record that they did peaked at number 27 on the Billboard Top 200, which isn't great. Let me see, what did Hydraulics do? Can I tell? Is there any way of knowing? No, they don't even have the information for that. So it clearly then means it did nothing. That's Yiddish for it didn't do anything. And it's a shame too. I'm sure that second record was expensive to make. Look at the production team. But anyway, that kind of ended it. They did come back and put a single out, but by that point, I mean, they were basically doing the indie thing. Yeah, nobody's checking for High Five anymore. They were apparently briefly with Motown, and that didn't work. So yeah, the last we heard of them back in 2008, they released a comeback single called Do That. which didn't do anything either. Wave was the last single they put out. I'm sure it doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm going on at length here. We're almost a half an hour into this. This is the longest version of this we've ever done. But anyway, let's go ahead and put this one to bed. So yeah, off to the trash with you. But I just had to do this because somebody on Twitter brought up All I Do, and you know, there've been a couple of good versions, and then there was whatever this is. Props to Rodney Jerkins and LaShawn Daniels. Again, you guys deserve a statue in the park for doing what you did with this, but it wasn't going to work no matter what you did. So it all came down to bad vocals. So anyway, there it is. All I Do Is Think of You by B5. Welcome to the hot garbage bin, kids, because that's where it belongs. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Much appreciated. I hope you made it all the way through. My apologies for having to endure the tune itself. I've got more stuff coming. I've actually got good stuff coming. I have a very long list for Slept On. I've got more hot garbage. I have more stuff in general coming up. So stay tuned. But until we see each other next time, please keep listening to bad music.